Hey Mermaids, it's Colleen with Made for Mermaids. Welcome to day 5 of our Hudson Hoodie Sew Along. Today we are working on attaching our waistband as well as our armbands. So I'll show you 2 quick ways to construct the bands and then we will attach them. So the first is just really simple. I have it folded with right sides together and I'm just going to stitch the short raw edges. So you can see I have that edge stitched now. This edge has the fold and all that does is create a loop here. Oh, if I can get it. So I have a loop and then I'm going to fold it with wrong sides together. You can see I didn't even try to straight match. Terrible. My poor neglected daughter. So we're just going to fold it in half. And this is a great time to give it a press too. I'm not going to worry about pressing it since my iron is nowhere near my machines anymore. Okay, so I have it folded in half and we'll attach it in just a bit. I'm going to set it to the side. And then here's another way that you can construct your bands, and it's a little bit trickier. So first, fold it in half with right sides together, and then we're going to fold it in half again. Take the raw edges and we're going to stitch those with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So your folded edges should be together and then you should have all of your raw edges together. Then when you go to turn it right side out, it's already sewn together. You can see this part right here is sewn together as opposed to this way where I've clipped it. This one is not stitched together here. So just another option for you. So we'll do one more like that so they match. So again, we fold it in half that way. And then fold it in half again. And then we'll stitch the raw edges with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then turn it right side out. And that's our second wristband. Or cuff. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word cuff. Whew, it's been a long day, I guess. Okay, so our next step is to quarter our cuffs and our waistband. So I'm just going to put clips at all the quarter points. So I've got them placed here. I'll do it with my others as well. I thought we were going to get some cold weather. There was a typhoon that hit mainland Japan, sadly, but it took a lot of the humidity out of the air here where we are. So it tricked me into thinking we might get a little bit of cooler weather for a couple weeks. It's back to being hot again. But I won't complain too much since we were lucky enough to miss the typhoon, and I know a lot of people weren't. So I've quartered this one. You can see I have my clips there. And then we'll do the waistband. And now we'll quarter our sleeve and our waist. My daughter keeps asking me if it's ready to wear yet, which is funny because it's not even hot enough to, or it's not even cold enough to think about a sweatshirt. Okay, so I have both sleeves quartered. And now I'll do the waist. Whoops. I thought I was picking up a clip off the table and I pulled it off the sleeve. Okay, I have all my quarter points. So now with my sweatshirt inside out, I'm going to face my bands. So I will flip it upside down so that I can match raw edge to raw edge. And first I'm going to take the seam of the waistband and pin it so that it matches up. We'll clip it so that it matches up to one of the sweatshirt side seams. And then I'll clip it there. Then match up your other quarter points. And then you can place just a few more clips around the waistband. Remember that you will have to slightly stretch the band to fit. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. But if you're having to stretch a ton and you're getting a lot of bubbling in your fabric, it's always a good idea to go back and check your measurements, check your pieces, check the cut charts, do a little bit of troubleshooting before you start sewing. Okay, so I have my band clipped on, and we will attach that with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. My band is attached. I'll give that a press later. Here it is from the front, still inside out. You can see we closed up that pocket where we had it basted. That's closed up now. And we can go ahead and attach our cuffs. So again, upside down so that the folded edge goes inside the sleeve, and we can match up the raw edges. I like to match up the cuff seam with the inner seam on the sleeve, but that's just a personal preference thing. And the cuffs are small enough that usually those 4 clips are plenty for me. You can always put more you're more comfortable with more clips. We'll go ahead and attach that with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then we can attach our last cuff with the sleeve inside out and the folded edge facing down. We'll match up those raw edges. And then the other quarter points. And then we'll stitch it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I usually just use a needle to finish off my serger threads, and then I just weave it back through and then trim it. But I'm going to do it now so I don't forget. One more. All right, so you can turn it right side out if you want to check it over. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty jealous of hers. It's going to be so cute. I did add a little bit of length to her cuffs because she has been growing like crazy. So I added just a tiny bit of length to hopefully get a little bit more wear out of it. But other than that, I attached them for the tutorial. So if you're that is it for day 5. If you are happy with how your bands look, you can set it to the side and we'll wrap up our sew along tomorrow with our hood attachment. We'll see you then.